When a neighbor's tragedy pulls you in, but your own struggles push you away, am I the a-hole for ghosting my grieving friend? I used to be close friends with my neighbor Eli, who was married to his husband Leo. About a year and a half ago, I started distancing myself from Eli because he could be selfish and wasn't always a great friend. Still, I remained on friendly terms with both Eli and Leo, though we only saw each other briefly in passing. Recently, I've been struggling with severe depression. One morning after crying for hours, I decided to go shopping just to get out of the house. While I was out, I noticed several missed calls and a text from Eli that read, "Leo just passed. Please answer." I immediately called him back, but all I could make out through his sobbing was, "Please come over." I rushed home and saw an ambulance outside our building. I wondered if Leo was inside. As I ran down the hallway to their apartment, I could hear Eli screaming. When I opened the door, I was met with a heartbreaking scene. Leo's body was on the floor, and Eli was hugging him, sobbing uncontrollably. They had been watching TV when Leo suddenly stood up, complained of chest pain, and collapsed. Paramedics arrived and pronounced him dead. They told us we had to wait for the police to arrive. For nearly 2 hours, we sat on the floor, Eli clutching Leo's body, sobbing, while I held Eli, trying to comfort him. When the police finally arrived, we moved to the couch, sitting just feet away from Leo's body for several more hours. I did my best to stay calm and support Eli through it all. Hours later, the authorities took Leo's body away. Eli asked me to help him call Leo's parents, who didn't know Leo was gay or married. Using Leo's phone, Eli called his mom, but she thought he was joking. He was crying so hard that I had to take over and break the devastating news to her myself. Eli also reached out to his friends and family, begging them to come be with him. His cousins eventually showed up but didn't stay long. I stayed until late that night, ordering food, cleaning up, and doing whatever I could to help. We ended up watching TV, wrapped in the same blanket I had used to cover Leo's body. I couldn't sleep at all that night. The next day, Eli's cousins returned briefly, but left a mess behind. Several of Eli's family and friends kept saying, "Luckily, that girl lives in the same building," as if I was the designated person to handle everything. I started feeling like they were using me as an excuse to avoid stepping up themselves. When I finally got back to my apartment, I collapsed and slept. When I woke up, I realized I physically couldn't bring myself to go back to Eli's apartment. Just thinking about stepping foot in there made me tremble. Eli kept calling me, but I didn't answer. Eventually, I texted him that I was sick, but he continued to call. I'm terrified that if I pick up, he'll cry and ask me to come over again. What I witnessed has left me deeply shaken. I keep having flashbacks of that day. I'm even afraid to leave my apartment because I might run into Eli. I was already struggling with depression, and now I feel incredibly lonely. I don't have a support system, and my therapy doesn't start for another 2 weeks. I have no one to talk to about this. I feel overwhelming guilt for ghosting Eli during this devastating time when his entire world has fallen apart. So here's where I need your help, everyone. Am I the a-hole for ignoring Eli's calls after everything that happened? Let me know what you think in the comments below.